Hey, what's up, man? And welcome to a special segment of Police Off the Cuff. We're starting to do these a little bit shorter segments. We had two of them already that we've aired, and those were in regards to the Special Diseases Day at the Police Academy at the One Police Plaza, which is taking place on February 27th.
Right.
That's coming up. And since we started with this, why not just give the opportunity for people that are currently on the job and doing the right thing for members of the service, some of them who have been injured in the line of duty, some of them actually, whatever group that you're part of, we're trying to do the right thing. And reach out to us, and we'll give you an opportunity to come on the show and tell other law enforcement officers and agencies about what you're doing to help us on the job here. And our guest today is a police officer.
How you doing?
His name is Austin Glickman.
Yep.
And where do you work, Austin?
I'm in the 3-0.
Oh, the 3-0, huh? How is it? How's things up there right now?
Well, it's probably a lot different from when you were up in that area.
Yeah, I was when I worked in Manhattan up there. I was in the Warren Squad, but Bill
I
was
was in Manhattan North Homicide.
Yeah,
and, the 3-0 started slowing down even when I left. I retired in 2011.
Yeah, they say the 2-6 is the donut hole, around the area.
Right.
But really, it's kind of now morphed into the 3-0 also. I mean, we still take our homicides, our shootings, or our stabbings and stuff. But the 3-0 is definitely probably slowed down significantly.
Gentrified.
Yeah,
right?
sure has.
It's starting to get gentrified. Manhattan's gold. That's what it is.
But it's a great place to work. It's not too busy, but it's not too slow. So
you speak Spanish?
I don't, no, but all my partners do.
Yeah, and help
God.
you.
Yeah.
You're new to. You don't have that much time on the job, though, do
I
you?
just hit top pay.
So is that 5 years?
5.5 years.
Oh, that's great, though. Top pay feels good, right?
Borrow some money.
Great. Yeah, no, it's still not enough, so there's not much to give around.
Yeah.
Top pay. You a big overtime guy? Or no?
I was. When I was on patrol, I did conditions, so I was definitely a big overtime guy. But now I'm on the NCO, the neighborhood coordination officer, kind of like what CPOP was back in the day.
Yeah.
Not much overtime when it comes to the
But
NCO spot.
good eating though, right?
Yeah, but you gotta
decent.
You gotta create some overtime, man. You gotta do stuff, community board meetings and stuff like that. And says,
right.
Yeah, we still do, and
a whole bunch of things.
Salsa dancing contests.
Yeah,
all
create
that
it.
stuff,
Yoga out, hot yoga out
Yoga.
on your RDO.
Yeah.
It's the way to put the community together.
Peloton contests.
Yeah.
We still collar up though, because we do a lot of these conditions. We're kind of like a mix between like a mini squad and a conditions team and a community affairs. So we still do make.
But you get
arrests.
steady days, right?
Yeah, we do. So I'm actually Friday, Saturday. So I
That's
can't
nice.
Really,
Hey, listen,
good.
do what you gotta do to get them steady days, man.
You got to get those RDO courts on Friday.
Those are slim pickings.
Yeah, they're not that much anymore.
I had a detective.
and you can't lose the case anyway,
Especially
right?
now, everything's DATs.
Oh,
it's all
God.
disappearance
Yeah.
tickets.
When I had
Yeah.
the 2-3 rip, I had a detective that had audio court every single Friday, right? And I was ordered by the CEO of Manhattan Detectives to change his audios to Saturday, Sunday. Once they were changed to that date, he never got another another court date ever again on Friday.
Wow.
Hey, I noticed when I was reading the website a little bit that you came up with this idea for this group. Well, let's tell the name of the group. It's called, what is it called?
Yeah, so it's Law Enforcement Officers Weekend, and we're a 501c3 nonprofit.
All right, so, and you came up with this idea while you were still in the academy?
I was, yeah. So I got in the academy July 9th, 2014. A week after I'm in the academy is when the whole Eric Gardner situation goes down.
Right.
Now at the time, it was the old academy, which was down on
I remember.
20th Street, and I'm from Long Island. So every day I would take the train. I was on a 4-bys, take the train to Penn Station, and then jump on the subway to get to the academy. And
In the uniform?
in uniform.
With that hat? Did you wear the hat too?
With that stupid hat.
You wore the hat?
We had to
you
because
were
No, I
going
had to wear it too, but I
Like
never
you were
wore
going
it.
overseas.
Well, the thing is, what was it? Recruit discipline unit used to go to Penn Station every once in a while,
God.
and they would watch us come off the trains, and they would follow us.
And they would ask you for your star card,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, if we weren't wearing our hat or we weren't in proper attire, we would get a rip for it. So we had to do it. And the whole Eric Gardner situation happens, and then a month after the Eric Gardner situation happens, Ferguson happens with Michael Brown.
Wow.
So we went from being these great academy recruits walking through Penn Station with pride
being a target
to
now.
being the target now. Exactly.
It's the worst feeling, isn't it?
It was horrible. It was horrible. And every day we'd walk down the street going to and from the academy. People would be cursing at us, throwing things at us, and we couldn't do anything about it. We didn't have guns or shields at that time.
Right.
We actually, they changed it up now. You get your gun and shield about halfway through the academy. Now, at that point, we didn't get it.
You would think the academy would say, you know what, if you want to put a jacket on and not wear the hat, you could do it.
Well, towards the end they did because
it's a little
the
ridiculous.
constant harassment that was happening.
Good.
And then they told us to start carrying our mace or our asps with us. But still, I mean, it's no gun. We don't have a vest.
Right,
It was terrible. So all this is going on, and then about 2 weeks actually before I graduated, Lou and Ramos both get assassinated in Brooklyn.
Some rough times.
I knew Lou.
Yeah, it was crazy. So the first time I actually wore my Class A uniform was for their funerals. It wasn't for my graduation. And, just being there and just being in that sea of blue, they talk about it all these law enforcement funerals, especially for Lou and Ramos. I mean, that was the first assassination during that time period with all this hatred towards police. And
that's the first time everyone turned their backs on de Blasio, too, right?
Yep, that was the first time it happened, and actually during our
Very
graduation...
deservedly so, too, I must say.
I'm still on the
I
job,
know
so I
you
can't
say
comment
it,
on
but
anything
he deserved
like that.
it. He still deserves it.
Yeah.
So that's when you had this idea. What was the initial idea? You said, I want to do something for my brothers and sisters in blue?
Yeah, so all this is going on, and right after I graduated, I just saw the stress levels just through the roof.
So you're like, you know what? We need to get away.
So I came up with this idea to allow the families of law enforcement officers, not just police, but probation, corrections, parole, anyone that falls in the law enforcement capacity, the ability just to get away for the weekend, to be able to relax, unwind, have some fun. And I approached the mayor of Lake George, who's the longest-running mayor in New York State history.
Wow.
He's about 80-something years old. He's been a mayor for 48 years. Previously, he was chief of police for Lake George, which actually no longer even exists. It's now taken over by Warren County Sheriff's Department. And I had this idea. I said, hey, you want to host an event for law enforcement? And he said, let's do it. Took a few years to get off the ground, but in 2017, we launched our first event. And pretty much what we do is we were like a two-pronged event. First and foremost, we provide events and activities for all active and retired law enforcement officers, their friends, and their families to come to Lake George. We have things like shooting competitions, seminars, boat cruises, a canine demonstration, a vintage police car display, a concert, a comedy show. So there's tons of things that are going on throughout the entire weekend. But because we're also a 501c3, we take the families of officers that were either seriously injured or killed in the line of duty. We bring them to the event. We pay all their expenses.
That's fantastic.
Hotel, flight, food, everything. We cover all their expenses. So it's been a really great time, and we're now going into year 4.
Wow, that's amazing that you came up with this idea while you were in the academy. That's a wonderful. It means, listen, the sky's the limit for your career. If you can come up with that idea while you were a rookie, God bless you. Let's show some of the. Give us some of the dates of what you got coming up here.
Yeah, so since 2017, which was our first year, like I said, we've actually now expanded. So we have the Lake George event, which is like our flagship event. It's going to be June 12th through the 14th of this year. We also have a Long Beach event, which is where I'm from, Long Beach, Long Island, which is specifically for injured officers and their families. That's going to be July 30th through August 2nd. And then we also do Yankee games, Mets games, we do fishing charters.
This is great.
So if you go on our website, which is leoweekend.com, you can take a look.
LEO
Weekend.com.
Weekend.com.
Yeah, which stands for Law Enforcement Officers Weekend.com, and you could get a list of all of our upcoming events. We also have a fundraiser, which is up and coming February 29th, which is a Saturday from 2 to 6 in Long Beach. And like I said, we're a nonprofit, so everything has to come through donations to us. So if anybody wants to come out to Long Beach, again, that information is also on our Facebook and on our website.
So if we go to Leo weekend.com, we can become is there a subscribe?
No.
Can I subscribe? How do I get on your mailing list?
Yeah, you can subscribe directly on the website or just follow us on Facebook or Instagram.
You got a Facebook page too?
Yep, Law Enforcement Officers Weekend. We got about
Law
15,000
Enforcement Officers
followers.
Weekend.
Yeah.
How many people are taking part in this?
So back in 2017, the two families that we brought, one was from New York State Police, and one was actually from our job, the NYPD. It was Deputy Chief James Malloy. They both passed away from 9/11 cancer.
Okay.
So we brought all their families up, and then we had about 98 other families who came who were active or retired law enforcement.
Wow.
And it's not just New York State; it's from across the country where these families come.
That's fantastic.
We've also had the families of Lisa Tazzulo, Sergeant Tazzulo, and Mia Soto's familia. And that was back in 2018, and I actually have a story about that. After that weekend was over on Sunday, the Familia family comes up to me. It was actually Genesis Familia, who's the oldest of 3. Then you have Peter and Delilah, who were, at the time, they were 12. They're twins. And Genesis comes up to me, and she goes, since our mother died, only a few months prior, she was assassinated on July 4th. Peter and Delilah lost the ability to be children.
Right.
You know, the ability to be 12-year-olds and having your mom, who's your protector, your lover, just stripped from you out of nowhere.
Right.
They weren't kids any longer. And she goes, this is the first time since our mom's death that they were able to laugh again. They were able to enjoy themselves and have fun. And, you know, that really struck a chord with me. I'm not really an emotional guy. My wife will actually tell you that I have no emotions at all.
I'm not emotional. I'm going to cry now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a touching story.
It is. It really is.
I put myself right there, and I was just like, wow.
I didn't know what to do. Again, I'm not an emotional guy. All my other board members were walking around at the time. They were closing up shop, and I didn't know what to say. I just gave her a big hug. I didn't know what else to do, and I tell that story everywhere I go. Anytime I'm talking about LEO weekend, I talk about
You ever come up with
that
a better
story.
ending for that story? I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much of a better story.
No, you can say, I came up with this to say.
Yeah.
But it's, the better ending for that story is that you're not that type of guy, but you, now you understand.
I understand.
Somehow
We're
you had
all
the
touched by
intuition.
that, man. All
Somehow
touched.
you had the intuition, just coming out of the academy, that something should be done, something good. And then you had, like, in your second year, you already had that's an amazing thing.
And then it was reiterated again the next year. We had a bunch of other families, and then we had the family of Natalie Corona. She was only on the job for 2 weeks in California. If you guys remember, she had she was a beautiful girl. She had a blue dress on, and she had the thin blue line flag behind her. It made national news. Again, she was only 22 years old. She was working a car accident scene, and some perp, I'll call him, rides up on a bicycle, has nothing to do with the accident, shoots her right in the head. Absolutely no reason. And we work really closely with Brotherhood for the Fallen, which is another NYPD great organization out there. And they helped us fly them in from California. Now, Natalie had 3 sisters, her aunt, her mom, her dad all came. And they almost reiterated the same exact thing that Genesis had told me the year before. They didn't know about the story, but the mom and dad come up to me after the weekend's over and they go, this is the first time since Natalie's death that our daughters were able to dance and have fun and be able to relax. And, the first time you're told that, maybe it's just luck. Maybe we did a good event and we got lucky. But now 2 years in a row with almost the same story back to back, the same saying back to back, I was like, all right, now we're cooking here.
I have a funny feeling that you're going to hear that type of reaction every single year at every single event. I mean, it's the idea is, because a lot of times when you get, especially when you first get on the job, or if you're trying to get to a unit or a promotion on this job or any law enforcement job, you're working a lot, and some people forget to take a vacation. Yeah. And a weekend like this where you can go away and is always good. It's good for your mental, stability. It's good for your endurance. It gives you an extra juice on life. And now when you can go away and you can do it for a good reason,
right,
and be around your brothers and sisters in blue. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be around them every single weekend, but sometimes it's good to get away from work, but still get a chance to get to know who I'm working with as a person.
We have a motto that we use with LEO Weekend, and it's bringing your blood and your blue families together.
Right.
And like you said, you might not always want to be surrounded by your blue family.
No, but something, I say this, I've said this on other shows, is that for some reason, even when you're off the job, when you're with other cops, you feel so much safer.
Exactly. You feel safer.
I've been doing 60. I never heard you say that before, Bill.
You have a bad memory.
Well, you're able to relate to one another.
Yeah.
And you can let your guard down.
I've definitely said that before.
Yeah.
60 episodes now.
You feel a safety when you're around other cops. And not that,
you
everyone's gunning for us. I've been
Right.
out off the job 8 years, but there's that special bond.
Yeah, and again, like I said, this is not just for the families of New York officers. We have families that come from across the country.
Right.
And we've had families now who have attended year after year, and they've made special bonds with other officers from different departments, different backgrounds, but you will always have that same understanding and that same feeling of family because you're on the thin blue line.
I think that, law enforcement nationally has to stick together because we have a lot of enemies, not just perps. We have the press, and we have a lot of politicians that are enemies.
I mean, we had Maki Haberfeld here. That
John
episode
Jay College.
She's a professor, a PhD. She's a brilliant mind. She's been to 60 different countries. understanding and studying their police departments. She said one thing about here in the United States is just how many different police departments there are. Just like, for example, even in New York State, you have NYPD, Nassau, Suffolk, Yonkers PD. Even though I always say we should take them over. We got
State police,
it's a
Port
running
Authority.
joke. Yeah, we have so many deep and. You know, there's even though we're all law enforcement, they're different jobs, but we should be able to at least have a resource in these jobs. You know, somebody that you know that you might be able to call. So in that
Absolutely.
way, it helps too. Unite us. We need something.
It's a brotherhood, and there's no reason.
I just want to. I'm looking at this. I just want to reiterate the dates one more time here.
Sure.
Make sure that we got them all. You got a lot of good-looking paperwork here.
Yeah, we try.
No, it's definitely. It looks like a great weekend. You know, we got pictures over here of kids and families doing all type of stuff. You know, do you when you go up there? You said you had content. Do you let the kids shoot the guns and stuff?
No, no. So the shooting competition is only for active or retired law enforcement. That's
Man,
probably the only thing.
You want to get the kids riled up, man. Tell them they're going to be able to shoot the gun, man.
Well, we have paintball, so they could do paintball.
Okay,
It's close
there you
enough.
go.
Good.
Yeah,
That's
so
good.
it is close enough.
I'm surprised he's not asking, do you have strippers up there?
Well,
or-
so that's what I
Well,
was
you
going to say.
should, listen, that's a different weekend.
Yeah, it's a different weekend. But the thing that's good about that this event is that whether you want to come up with your family or you want to come up with your coworkers, your friends,
How about Michael Mott? Can I come up with Michael Mott?
come up with whoever you want to come up with. Just don't take any photos. So
He's quick. He's getting
Yeah,
quick.
He's good, he's good.
you get to be able to morph this event into whatever you want it to make it into. So if you want to come just for the comedy show and the concert, which is more of our for adult, the comedy show is only adults only.
We want to take over the comedy
Well,
show. We don't,
I want to get him to come to actually our Long Beach event, which is
We're gonna take care of that. We'll do it.
Cool. But yeah, so if you want to come and just smoke cigars and drink whiskey all day, you could do that. If you want to come with your friends and your family and watch the canine demonstration and partake in the boat cruise and stuff, you could do that. You don't have to come to all of our events that we have throughout the weekend. It's actually impossible because we have events that overlap each other.
Oh, okay.
And we have a kids camp, so if you want to send your kids off to camp for the entire
Get
day,
rid of them. I want to drink some.
Yeah,
how many
yeah.
people you
PBRs,
got
right?
working for you? This
So,
sounds like a huge organization.
Well, it's not. So there's 5 members on the board. And then we have a bunch of different volunteers depending upon where we're going to host the event.
Yeah.
But we work very closely with the local departments up there too. So like when we're doing this kids camp, we get the Explorer program involved. And we have a lot of people who they contact us and say, hey, we love what you're doing. We want to help out. So usually the day of, a few weeks before, we try to vet who they are, make sure they're not like, a pedophile or something like that.
Sure.
And, we say, yeah, come on down. And we always have officers that are either
Have you vetted
working.
Mark?
I only met Mark a few weeks ago actually at the academy during CIT
This
training.
investigation is ongoing.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's it. So, do you have a resort that you do it up there every year in Lake George,
in
or
Lake
do
George.
you move it around?
no. So the Lake George one is in the village itself. The events are spread out throughout the entire area, but the Fort William Henry has been our host hotel for
Which
the
one
past.
is it?
The Fort William Henry. It's
You
one
know-
of the best hotels up there. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
Lake George was very, very, very popular when I was a kid. I mean, I used to go. I went there with my grandparents, and we'd go.
Still
it was-
popular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember how popular it was. So this sounds like an amazing weekend.
And the plan is to have different LEO weekend events throughout the entire country. We're planning on doing one in Disney, probably sometime next year or the year after. We want to do one in Colorado for those who like to ski. and
After
snowboard.
March 16th, Mark and I are going to be celebrities from this show.
Oh, are
so
you?
if you need us to make
Okay, yeah.
appearances,
Yeah.
shake hands, kiss babies.
Well, I've been
kiss
listening to you guys now.
Strippers. No.
I've been listening to you guys
My
now
wife
for.
doesn't listen to this.
Oh,
so.
that's good. For a few weeks now, I've been listening, and I've heard Mark say a few times that you guys want to take this on the road. So
Yeah.
Comedy
come
shows,
down to
yeah.
Long Beach,
Yeah,
come
we
to
got,
Colorado.
we got a lot of we got big plans coming up,
Yeah.
man. And
Love to have
this
you
is
guys.
this is part of it, by the
We
way.
can bring Peter Pranzo
If you
back
like
on.
I
He's got so
mentioned
much
earlier,
energy.
man, Austin went out of his way. He took it upon himself to at least come up with this idea and get a couple of buddies along and look at what happens 3 years later, man. You got now. How many are you up to now on the weekends?
So we have the Long Beach weekend, we have the Lake George weekend, and like I said, we're planning on doing another 5 or 6 throughout the entire country over the next probably 5 years or so. And we're moving at a really rapid pace now. We're starting to finally pick up more
Let me
people.
tell you something.
following
This
us
is
on
the most
Facebook.
unselfish thing you could possibly do. It really
And
is. It's
nobody takes a
fantastic.
paycheck. 100% of the funding that we get through donations.
And there's
goes
nothing that
directly
has to go through the department as far as paperwork, right? To
Well,
sign off
no,
on.
actually I do. Yeah, so I have to let internal affairs know what we're doing.
All those
And-
little cheese-eating mofos.
Leave him,
That's the way-
don't
the
say
way it
nothing
is.
now because he's got to get the deal.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
true.
You gotta
Right.
jump through hoops.
Go,
and-
come after me into
Do they
the
still give you
affairs.
that form? They give you that form to that you got to go through all department channels before they give you the okay?
yeah, it's pretty much just like doing an off-duty employment form, even though I'm not getting a single dime out of this.
I did that with the comedy shows. I remember when I first came on, when I first started doing comedy, and I was like, I couldn't believe it, man. It was like I had to get a scratch from my sergeant, then from the CEO, then from the borough chief. Then I had to go, and every time I went there, they wanted like I was stealing the money.
Yeah, it takes
it's
weeks or months just to get the
ridiculous.
paperwork back.
I'm like, I'm not gonna steal the money. This is not all of it, but it's gonna be a good night. We're gonna have a fun night, and then whatever we got left over, goes to the widows and children's fund.
You just got to take it off the expense report.
It's fun. It's included in the. It's a non-for-profit. Remember? All right. So I want to thank you for coming in, and we're going to post the stuff here at the end of the episode so you can see the website once again. And I tell you, man, if you're out there and you want to have a great weekend, this thing at Lake George sounds like a phenomenal time. And if you're in Long Beach, why not? Why not do it? You're already in Long Island.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And we have the Yankee games and the Mets games and the fishing charters and the stuff.
You don't want to go to the Mets games. You want to be sitting
I'm a
next to
Mets fan. Don't say
parolee.
that.
Well, I
Yeah, but you're going
so.
to be sitting
Mets are
next
gonna
to
be
a
good this
criminal.
year, by the
I
way.
think the Mets. I'm a diehard Yankee fan, but I got to give it up to the Mets. The Mets have gone way above and beyond for us with our organization.
You see that?
We
You see
had-
that, Bill?
Well, put them on the other side of the stadium from the
what did they
parolee.
eat?
Well,
So
I'll
they
tell you one
beat
thing
us.
though. This whole thing with the Mets and the ticket sales, when De Blasio said he was giving out free Mets tickets, actually what's actually really going on is that a private law firm actually purchased a significant amount of Mets tickets, and it's this law firm that's giving out the tickets to the criminals. It's not the city. And it's not
okay.
the Mets. So the Mets got a really bad rap on this. And I think the Mets are going to do really well this year. And last year we had 265 people that went to the Mets game. And this year we're going again. We bought 500 tickets in advance. It's going to be...
Where did you got him off that the lawyer in the Bronx?
Yeah, we shook him down.
You found the trunk in their car where they kept the tickets.
Yep. So we have this Mets game up and coming. It actually ties into our Long Beach weekend, and we're bringing 500 people there, and hopefully we're gonna get the families of injured officers.
What day is that,
to
the
throw out
Met game?
first
Which
pitch.
game are you going
It's
against?
gonna be August 2nd. I don't recall who they're playing, but we're doing a huge a tailgate, and there's
And
gonna
when's the Long Beach thing?
that's gonna be July 30th, which is a Thursday, through August
We
2nd.
should go out to the Long Beach thing.
Yeah, you
Definitely.
should come
I
out.
I go to Long
And,
Beach every year.
Actually, Detective Dash Veve from the 6-7 precinct, he was the one who was dragged by a vehicle about a year and a half ago or
Yeah,
so.
I've sent
And
him recognize his name.
Yeah, he's significant brain injury since then. We're paying for his whole family to come to Long Beach, and we got 4 other families from throughout the country that we're bringing in.
That's great.
And it's going to be a really great event, and it's open to the public. You want to come and hang out on the beach with us, and there's private surf lessons, and we're doing a fishing charter.
Can you wear a Speedo?
You can wear whatever you want. You can wear whatever you want.
Yeah,
it's
that's
gonna
when
be
you
a
say
great
you
time.
bring the whole family there. You know, I'm half Dominican and I got a pretty big family, so we're all I'm gonna pile into that.
Hello, Santo Domingo.
my Hyundai Sonata. We're heading out, putting the flag on the trunk. Let's go.
Yeah, we're gonna
anyway,
do a,
Austin, I wanted to say thank you, man. Thank you so much
yeah,
for
of
coming
course.
through.
No, of course.
And
That's
we're gonna
fantastic,
do
man.
we're gonna do our best to make sure that you double the numbers, man. That's what our goal here is.
Awesome.
And
Mark,
anybody-
I just wonder for a second how tough it must be to sit in this seat with you and me, peppering them with insults and.
You know what? Listen, everybody leaves. They said they had a great time, and they got
That's
people that
true.
want to come back.
People
so
laugh.
When you're a
That's
cop
true.
nowadays, you're used to it, man.
and especially
It's,
since
it's
you know.
tender humor, though.
No,
It's
he's
tender.
going through the academy wearing that stupid hat. And they
Oh
yelling
my
at him
God,
and throwing
they
things
yell
at him.
at
and This is nothing.
Well, you going overseas?
You know what? Honestly, they should probably do that to all the recruits. They if you can man like a hell week. If you can make it through this, people throwing shit at you, cursing at you, then you're good to go.
Well, now
toughen them up. These guys.
These recruits they go to the academy. They have their own lockers.
They got water bottles with their name on it.
And they wear sweatshirts.
You know, we didn't
to
have
and
no
from
water
work.
bottles.
Yeah.
You had to go. Everybody used to. When nobody was looking, you ran. You took 2 sips off the thing. In 2 hours, we were working out. Not 1 sip of water.
Yeah, it's a
now
lot
these kids
changed.
all have their own water bottle with their name on it, like
They
they're in
don't have
3rd
to
grade.
make the run. They can drop out and just, I'm
All
tired.
right, whatever.
I'm tired.
Don't forget lawenforcementweekend.com.
LEOweekend.com.
LEOweekend.com. Visit it. He's got a couple of things coming up. The weekend in Lake George, the week in Long Beach, and other things coming up. And thank you so much for coming by.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
All the best to you.
Seriously.
Come on,
Thank
man.
you.
I guess it's Western